Back here at 8:40 on this Thursday and our second candidate interview of the hour, but this time we're bringing it close to home. He is one of 11 candidates that are going to be on the ballot. And let's see, I've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, so you're one of 7 on the Democratic side. Wow, this is a crowded race for County Commissioner. Klaus Halbsgut is in studio with me. Good morning, how are you?
Good morning, David. Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate the time this morning. So first of all, I'll ask the question that I do a lot of times when I talk to candidates for the first time. Why are you running for County Commissioner this time? What kind of prompted the decision?
Well, my wife thinks I'm crazy, so putting that aside, I've been interested in politics for quite a long time. I've had the good fortune with the business that I own being able to talk to a lot of county residents, and I've somewhat tortured them over the years with my political viewpoints, and I've had many people tell me that I should run for city council, run for this, that, or the other, and somehow I've managed over the years to talk myself out of it. This year I decided, with the current affairs in the Albany County and in the country itself, I wanted to get involved and give back to the community. There's not much I can do about what's happening in Washington, D.C. Hopefully the gentleman you talked to earlier today can do something about that. But I want to try to help Albany County and help people locally. So I decided to get involved and go ahead and run. Little did I realize I was picking one of the most popular races to jump into, but that's good, that's great. It challenges me and it benefits Albany County. So
well, and I think a lot of candidates locally just want to make a little bit of a difference. It's been interesting because there have been years, and I think you would agree with me on this, that we haven't had a lot of candidates for different areas. This year it seems to be very crowded because I think a lot of people feel like they can make a difference, and maybe they're pushing themselves to kind of get more involved, it seems like. Is that kind of...
I think so. I've had the good opportunity to get to meet most of the candidates that are running, and we really do have a good crowd of people that are running, at least on the Democratic side. Everybody wants to get involved, everybody wants to help. However it plays out, hopefully I get the votes and I get to do it, but I think Albany County is going to be well served. We really do have some good candidates, so I'm glad to see that. We also have a lot of candidates running for city council. I'm glad to see that too. I was a little saddened to see that we're going to lose a Klaus in local government this morning in the newspaper, but maybe this Klaus can make up for that and we can have another Klaus in local government. But I think Albany County and the city of Laramie's got some good choices. I think we're going to be better off no matter how it plays out. So.
All right, well, let's talk about what you're hearing. First of all, how have things gone since you decided to formally run for county commissioner? How would you kind of put in perspective, from your perspective, how things have gone in terms of your message and how it's been received so far?
I've been really pleased. I've had some good response. I have a whole bunch of unwilling victims that come into my business, so I get to bounce a lot of things off of them. And I've had some really good response. I've been really surprised, and what's pleased me the most is not only have I gotten good response from Democrats, I've got a lot of customers that are independents, I've got a lot of customers that are Republicans. I love all my customers, and I love the ideas they bounce back and forth off of me, and if I can survive the primary, I think I'm going to be in pretty good shape. I've got a lot of people that aren't Democrats, and if I survive, are going to vote for me, so I'm really excited about that. One of the things that I'm most proud of, it's just a little microcosm of my campaign, east of Laramie, over in, the Sherman Hills area, I guess it is. I've got 2 good customers of mine. One is a very right-wing conservative gentleman. Love him dearly. We have some great bantering when he comes in, but he's fed up with the way things have been going, and he took one of my signs and he put it up in his yard. I have another good customer that's a bit of a liberal, a professor up here at UW, and he agrees with some of the things I'm saying also, and he's got a sign up in his yard. So I've got a Republican and a Democrat with both of them people having my signs in their yard. So I'm real pleased about that, and I'm not just only appealing to the Democrats, I'm appealing to a big range, and I think that's whoever gets in has got to be able to do that. If I do get elected, I'm not going to be representing Democrats. I'm going to be representing the whole county, Republicans, Democrats. I'm going to be representing people in the city. I really want to reach out to the people in the county. So I'd like to put a shout out to Northern Albany County. If I do get past the primary, I would hope somebody out there would please reach out to me. I'd love to come up to the northern part of the county and have a listening session. One of the things I've heard from a lot of my county customers is that the commission doesn't pay attention to them. I've been out to Rock River, I've talked to people in Woods Landing, I've got great support out in Woods Landing, but the theme seems to be that the commission focuses entirely on what's happening in Laramie and not so much around the county. And I really want to, I know it's a small population and the majority of residents live in the city, but as a commissioner, you got to look out for the whole county, not just this little area of Laramie. So there's a lot of concerns I've been hearing about fees and taxes, whether it's in the city or in the county. Mm-hmm. And as you probably know, Albany County is one of the poorest counties. Actually, it is, according to USA Today, the poorest county government in the state of Wyoming. Yeah. So we've got some hard choices to be made. We definitely need to try to increase revenue. Sales tax as a business owner is something that I follow. I've been paying sales tax for almost 27 years now. Unfortunately, we've lost a lot of businesses in Laramie, and our sales tax revenue has gone way down. One good thing related to sales tax revenue that I'm glad to see the country has done is internet sales. Since we don't have a lot of economic opportunities in Laramie, a lot of people buy things off the internet, we're going to start seeing some of that money come back to the county, and I think that's going to help. But we need to attract more businesses in here. We need to increase our tax base. I think some of the easiest ways to do it is the low-hanging fruit with tourism and recreation. We live in a beautiful area. Yeah. We have awesome recreation. I like to say I live in Laramie and I play in Albany County. we got downhill skiing, cross-country skiing, mountain biking, hiking. I love to get my motorcycle out, and unlike people that live in Denver, when I take my motorcycle out, I'm not out there with 3 million of my closest friends. It's just wonderful. We've got beautiful things that we should be able to sell. I know the tourism board tries to do that, but we're just hard to find. So, you know.
All right, we're talking with Klaus Halbsgut, County Commissioner candidate this morning. Let me live on KWB. We're just 5 days away from the election. You talk about being the poorest county, and there's a couple different complications to that. I've heard a lot about transparency and trying to open things up a little bit more. Where do you stand on, trying to, really open the books up, I guess, to folks and let them know exactly where the county kind of stands from my financial standpoint? I've heard that from a few other candidates that I've talked with, even though not on the show, but off the air, I guess.
No, that is something. I went to the Rock River, I think it was the House of Rep 47, League of Women Voters Forum up there. Okay. And that was one of the big topics up there that the candidates were talking about, transparency. So I don't think, what I do believe is not only in state government, but in local government, we need to have full accountability. The citizens need to know where we're spending the money that we're collecting and where it's going. And right now, I don't think we've got full disclosure on that. There's a lot of confusing issues, especially with the 6-penny sales tax, which I am in support of. And you've got this big list, it fills a whole page of what they'd like to do with the money. Right. But that's just kind of an outline. It's not guaranteed that it's going to go there. For example, one of the things as a Ward 1 resident that is on my bucket list is I'd like to see paved streets. And it's not just West Laramie. We have, I believe, from talking to city council members, something like 17 miles of unpaved streets in the city of Laramie. Yeah. And one of the things that does, apparently there's been studies done. I know the city council has had people come in and analyze, why can't we grow? Why can't we attract businesses? And one of the things is because of our infrastructure not being fully developed, the streets again. And it's not just in West Laramie, it's the whole city. We need to address things like that so that when businesses do come in, they see that we're a fairly well-developed city and they're willing to bring their businesses here. And right now, that is something that's keeping businesses away from Laramie. So we need full accountability of where our money that we collect is going to go. The city council and the county commissioners need to work together. That's something I've heard a lot about too, is that right now we've got a lot of personalities and they're conflicting and things aren't getting done. I heard that a lot up in Rock River when I went up there, which was a fun adventure. I was only one of 3 Democrats, I think, in a room full of Republicans. So that was exciting. I enjoyed it. I got to meet some of the state candidates. It was a good time.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. And that brings me, I guess, to a related point. If the 6th penny is renewed, and I know, I talked with Mayor Somerville a lot, and you know what? I'm going to tell folks in the audience, vote on Tuesday. Whether you vote yes or no, that's your own decision, and you will make up your mind for that. But if it is passed, and they want to do a lot of this, street maintenance, repair, things like that, we do have a small budget. So how do we go about making sure that that is funneled in the right direction from your perspective as a county commissioner candidate?
Well, I believe the mayor actually mentioned in an interview with you that the city does have a plan on how they're going to rate the priority. Right. And it's we would be mistaken to believe that if we vote for this 6 penny on Tuesday, that all of a sudden next year all of our streets are going to be paved.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
No, it's not realistic.
This is a long-term thing. It's going to take 8 to 10 years, maybe even longer. But we have to look at the future. We got to start planning for the future. We got to start developing our infrastructure a little bit better. And sometimes it's infrastructure. The last sixpenny, I believe, went a lot to water mains and stuff which you don't see.
Right.
So it's not pretty. You don't see the results of it, but it needs to be done. And I hope we get to water here in a second. I'd like to talk about that.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
So it's going to be difficult. It's, you know, there's going to be streets in Wyoming, in West Laramie that don't get done, and there's going to be streets in other parts of the city that do. I'd like to also find out what are the needs in the county. When reading what the county commissioners voted for when they approved the sixpenny to go on the ballot, they want to do a lot of improvements to buildings in the city of Laramie proper. Now they're county buildings, but they're all in the city proper. What's getting done outside of the city? I didn't see anything there. I want people to let me know that live out there what their needs are. And again, all of these things that are listed for the sixpenny, it's an outline. It's not written in stone. Whoever the commissioners are, when they get the money and they get to allocate it, those people are going to have to vote on it. Same way with city council. So these are the things we'd like to do, but there's no guarantee that that's the order that it's going to be done. And governments change, county commissioners change, city council changes. So we might have an agreement here next year of what we want to do, and 4 years down the road, the next government officials will decide to do something different. So we need to develop a plan, and the citizens need to be aware of it, and we need to have full disclosure.
You wanted to talk about water. What are the hot button issues, I guess, that you want to discuss when it comes to water? Again, we're talking with Klaus Halbsgut, County Commissioner candidate, one of 11 that are running for just 2 seats that'll be open here when the general election rolls around in November. But what is the biggest concern? What's maybe what you're hearing from residents around the county when it comes to water concerns?
Well, I think almost everybody is in favor of the Pilot Hill acquisition,
right,
and I would agree with that. I think there is a little bit misconception about how much of the aquifer is actually going to be protected if we do acquire that land. We're only going to protect, I believe it's about 13% of the aquifer. I think only 3% of the aquifer is actually in the city, so most of it's in the county. So the county commissioners are going to bear a big responsibility to make sure that we control the development on top of the aquifer. But the Pilot Hill is only going to be 13% of the aquifer, so you've got a big percentage that's not going to be in that area.
Right.
So we got to be cognitive of that, and we've got to address it accordingly. We have other concerns. We've got runoff from agricultural land that, you know, unfortunately pollutes the rivers, pollutes the lakes. We got to see if we can do something about that. They also need, our agricultural people, they need to have clean water for their crops, for their cattle, you know, so it's not just the aquifer. Water's got to be an all-encompassing thing through the whole county. And unfortunately, this is not just a Laramie problem, it's a nationwide problem. I was reading, and I'm not sure quite what to believe, 2017 there was a USA Today report that came out and said 20% of the country's water supply is contaminated. And whether that's from old infrastructure that was built back in the 50s and the 40s that's deteriorating now,
right,
or whether it's from pesticides or bacteria, you know, that is a big problem. When you got 20% of this nation's water supply contaminated, it has unintended consequences with health and cancers and the whole 9 yards. So it's not only Laramie's problem, it's a nationwide problem, and we need to wake up and we need to address that.
Now, some people, though, might say we live in a rural area, so maybe it's not as big of an issue around here.
Oh, it's worse.
You think so?
I think it's worse because rural areas like Albany County don't have the money to invest in maintaining the infrastructure, the water pipes as they deteriorate. And we have a hard time raising money because, once again, the county and the residents don't have a lot of money.
Right.
So we have a poor county government, but we also have, as far as median income of our residents, we're in the bottom half of all the counties in the state of Wyoming. I find it very interesting. There's a unique juxtaposition in the state of Wyoming. Albany County having the poorest county government, and Teton County on the other side of the state is the richest county in the whole United States of America. They also have one of the biggest income disparities too, so at least we're not that bad off.
Right.
So I don't imagine they have problems taking care of their water infrastructure. But rural counties, and that was in the article that I was reading, that is one of the biggest areas of problems because they don't have the finances to do it, and a lot of the places don't even have the people to do it because the people that did it are aging and retiring. And, you know, so it is something we need to plan for the future for, not just the aquifer, but our lakes, our rivers, our streams, and it's something that's going to become more and more important as our infrastructure underground deteriorates.
Obviously, attracting businesses would help from a tax standpoint, but are there other areas that you would like to see addressed to try and increase the tax revenue so that we're not maybe as poor and we're not always talking about a budget crunch and things like that, and you know, maybe, you know, the state removing some of the funds that they give to the counties? That is a possibility down the road that, you know, I hate to say could happen, which would make things, I think, even worse for a lot of counties and towns across the country. But I guess from a local perspective, how do we add to our tax base in other ways besides just kind of looking at, you know, business development, I would say? Well,
business development takes time,
right?
And we're going to have to provide incentives for them to come up here.
Okay.
And we're going to have to let them know that we support them, and we're going to, you know, do what's necessary to attract them. But the easiest, and I think I mentioned it a little while ago, the lowest hanging fruit is getting tourism and recreation to come up here. I know a lot of people, I've unfortunately talked to a few that probably aren't going to be happy. They don't like the greenies coming up here and getting in the way. But the sad fact of it is they come up here and they spend money at our hotels, our gas stations, our businesses. That is some of the easiest money to attract. And right now in America, being a Bosch service center at my shop, I was down in Florida at a corporate meeting in June, the millennials are all flocking to the city. Well, what I want to do is get into social media and try to attract them to come up here on a weekend. Come recreate up here, come camp up here, come, you know, hike, mountain bike. And I think Pilot Hill will be a great mountain bike area. I think that'll be one way we can attract some more tourism up here. Okay. So that's the easiest thing. We don't have to build a lot of infrastructure to get those tax dollars coming up here by, you know, attracting tourism and recreation. But we need to advertise it a little bit better on social media. And one of the thoughts I had, we just had Jubilee Days, is when these people come to visit us for Jubilee Days, we need to get, I don't know, brochures, cards, or whatever that we pass out that says, hey, thank you for coming, we greatly appreciate it. But do you know Albany County is a winter wonderland? Mm-hmm. We've got one of the best snowmobile trails, I think it's top 3 in the country. Please come see us for that. We got downhill skiing. When I go skiing up here, I get a lot of people that I talk to on the chairlift from northern Colorado and from Nebraska. You know, we want to attract those people. In the wintertime, we want to do the converse thing. Mm-hmm. You know, we want to advertise that, hey, thank you for coming up here. Mm-hmm. But look at it, it's in the summertime. We got great camping, fishing, hunting. You know, we got Jubilee Days. Try to, you know, promote for the, you know, the next 6 months down the road. That's the easiest low-hanging fruit. Yeah,
I'm up against it, but I want to give you one last opportunity to kind of appeal. Why should folks vote for you when it comes to the primary? Last kind of appeal to the voters. I'll give you the floor here, Ken.
Okay, well, my big thing that got me started is I really don't think Albany County residents need to be taxed anymore. I really want to hold the line on that. We got to try to figure out other sources of revenue. We got to evaluate where we're spending money now. As a business owner, I know if I'm spending too much for a service and I can get that service from somebody else of equal or better quality for a cheaper price, that's what we need to do. So I want to look at everything. Everything's on the table. Any place I can help Albany County save money, I want to try to do that. Any place I can help attract more businesses to Albany County, I want to do that. Absolute last resort would be raising taxes on fees on people. That just, we can't keep doing that. We're going to chase people out of our county.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time this morning. Good luck on Tuesday, and maybe we'll see you here in the next couple months.
I hope to have another interview with you a few weeks down the road. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me.